about them Tigers, baby? It's a BK takeover, damn it. There's levels to this game, man. There's levels to this game. In case you missed it, we have some breaking news at LSU. LSU wide receiver Kahan Bouty announced via his social media that he will be returning next season to LSU. He says, I believe in this team. This is a quote from Kahan. I believe in this team, these coaches, the strength staff, nutrition staff, and training staff. It is important to follow your dreams and live with the results. While some stories will end here, mine will not. Let's lock in and focus and accomplish the main goal in winning a national championship game. Booty, 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 rocking everywhere. Oh, man. What a coach. What a coach. You know how easy it could have been for Kahan Bouty to just legitimately fold up his tent and say, I'm going to the NFL. He has every right to. The young man has a child now. It was chronicalized. He missed a game due to the birth of his son. But yet, putting things aside, guys, I don't care what you say. Yeah, he might not have been a first-round pick this season because of some of the things, but you best believe he would have been taken in the top 2 rounds. That is still life-changing money for him and his family and his son. He's coming back, and I will tell you this. Get ready for it. Get ready for it. We're going to call it here on the Monday. Now, I tweeted out about an hour ago, everybody needs to be here live at 6 because there's going to be some news dropping. I thought it was going to be during the show. Nevertheless, it wasn't. But in the words of the good prophet, Marcus Peters, listen to this closely. I think we ain't done yet. Say it again. I think we ain't done yet. There's levels to this game. If LSU is able to retain majority of their team, such as, you got guys like Jaquelin Roy. He's got a big decision. B.J. Ojulari, which I really hope B.J. leaves if he's going to be a first-round pick or potential to be a first-round pick. I hope that he leaves. But there's levels to this. You hit the first level by getting your star receiver to return. Now, the transfer portal opened today, which we will talk about. We will talk about in reference to a lot of players going into portal. There are some needs that LSU still has. What happens at quarterback? We will discuss that. So we got a massive show in store for you tonight. And now what does it mean that Kahan Bouty returns? So I'll look forward to the bowl game and further into next season. We'll take a peek into there. We'll get to some LSU needs, what LSU has to do in the portal and in some of the high school recruiting that I know that they're attacking very, very, very swiftly. We'll get to all of that. Carter, the Power Bryant, joins us at 6:30. So we'll talk to him. We'll recap the Georgia game. We'll also recap, obviously, or we'll talk about Kahan Bouty returning and what it could mean for them moving forward. So a lot of massive news, a lot of big news dropping, and I think we ain't done yet. I think we ain't done that. Ed Marshall says, we in this thing. That we are. Steve Bain, since $4.99 via Super Chat, says, what does he know about the quarterback situation that we don't know about? Thank you for the Super Chat. Well, I think you're going to find out in coming days. I think you'll find out in coming days. So, look, a lot of people are going to take a lot of the great success from Nusmeier. Don't forget that Jane Daniels had 200 yards passing in the half. Jane's got to get better this offseason if he returns. I would expect him to, right? Like if he asked me today, Blake, what do you think I should do? Which I'm not in his shoes. I'm not in his situation. He comes from a great family. Mother's fantastic. Dad's fantastic. Comes from a situation where, can he come back? I think that he can. and I think that he should. So what happens with Nusmeier and Howard? Does, how does the battle transpire? How does it work out? We got a lot to talk about with that as well. Troy says the big question is whether Jane returns. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Brandon Hinesworth says Fournette. I'm assuming the question is that was asked to him here was, when's the last time a LSU player that wore number 7 returned in back-to-back years? It would be Leonard Fournette. It would be Leonard Fournette. Jordan Littleton says, I love Boutte staying. Shows just how bought in and committed these players are to the staff, and BK could have easily been a first-round pick this year. I don't know if it would have been first round, but he would have gone in the top second. He would have gone in the top second. Trey Varno, a good friend over at GM Varno and Son, says, yo, Goat, see ya. Yeah. Oh, God, Julius is so right here. Julius on Facebook says, but Blake, BK isn't a culture fit. God bless it. God bless it. Julius off the top fucking rope. Off the top rope. That's a great point, Julius. That's a great point. That's a great point. Egg got an LGZ. Says, shake your booty. Yeah, booty, rocking everywhere. I thought LSU and NIL sucked. I thought LSU sucked in the NIL game. Don't get it twisted. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Come on. All right, we're getting through some more of these comments, and then we'll get rolling. Noah says we win in the Natty by at least 30 next year. LMAO. Well, if we win the Natty game next year by 30, shit. You know what I didn't even put in the stream? We got a Saints game to preview, and that's why we are live at 6 instead of 7 o'clock. So maybe we'll talk some Saints at the very end. I'm not betting on that game. By the way, our parlay hit. We went live yesterday very quickly. Parlay did hit. So shout out to the Dallas Cowboys and shout out to Joe freaking Burrow, baby. The plus 3.5. So look, we didn't do it this season because I just didn't have a lot of time. We're going to be adding a lot of things. So I'll make an announcement now that the season's pretty much over. We're going to be adding a betting portion to all of this. Shout out to our good friends. If you see down at the bottom left or your bottom right, our good friends over at BetOnline, hit us a little parlay. I'm going to try to do as many as I can, as much as I can, but we'll finish throughout the NFL season starting now as well. I did make a parlay pick for the college football playoffs. It was probably, look, you know what it's going to be. I took the money line for Georgia and money line for TCU just to start off. We have a month for all that go. I don't like betting out a month for a game, especially on a parlay like that. You can if you want to, but I took Michigan. Did I say TCU? I took Michigan and Georgia to cover in their games. I took the money lines of those. So it's going to be really fun, and we'll do that as well. Jeff says that fake-ass accent didn't hurt a damn thing. I watched the transfer portal with BK. We're going to get to the portal. I'll get to it as soon as we get out of here as well. Blaze Ledette says Miller Lite, question mark. I held you to a higher standard, Blake. It's the only thing that's in the fridge, Blaze. I like me a good little Miller Lite. Honestly, I'm a whiskey bourbon man. I don't like beer. This will probably be the only beer I have all night. Because as soon as that game kicks off, here comes the whiskey. Blaine Smith says, think Saints should play. I'm not good, but fuck them. I'm not talking Saints. Fuck them. Mikey says, hey, Blake, what do you think about Deion at Colorado State? You mean Colorado? I think we talked about that yesterday. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it here, but I think it's massive. I think it's absolutely massive. All right. Everybody, let's get started. Let's get rolling. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. I want to send out a big thank you to, guys, we had over 100 people sign up for our AYS message board over the last 2 days, ayssnetwork.com. If you have issues logging in, DM us. DM us on Twitter. There's a message board through there. You can DM us through. Go to the message board. I put in, I think, 4 recruiting things today. Go there. Sign up. $7 a month. Buy it for somebody for Christmas, for crying out loud. $75 for a year. I mean, come on. It's not that much. But we do I'm not going to put info out on the streets, but we'll put it in the message board. So all 100, actually it was 102 of you that signed up for the message board. It's been popping. It's been absolutely active over the last 3 days. So I greatly appreciate y'all doing that. So let's get rolling. Sorry about our good friends over at GM Varno & Sons. GM Varno & Sons right here in Denham Springs. Our good friend Trey Varno was in here earlier. Shout him out, man. Need some car repair, all of it, they do it. Let them know that Blake sent you on by and our good friends at Bet Online. We return in a minute. Kahan Bouty. But you know what? I feel like we got to talk about this portal and who LSU might be adding. Next. Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first to market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varno & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down on the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varno & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992, 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Nathan says, how many players entered the portal today? I think it was close to 700, and none that we didn't know about entered with LSU today. Look, bottom line, and I want to get to some of the portal stuff, and that's how we'll start off. And we'll get, I'll get into what I think LSU needs. And my good buddy Trey, obviously, you just saw what Varno & Sons says. We won't flow. Yeah, if you saw Justin Flo, however you say his last name, 5-star linebacker, was at Oregon, entered the transfer portal. Never say never. Never say never. But we'll see. We'll see. What's up, Ben? Hold on. Come here. Daddy's live. Daddy's on the show. What happened?
Mama hit me.
Mama spanked you?
Yeah.
Why did Mama spank you?
Close.
Were you not listening to her?
Yeah.
Were you being bad?
Yeah.
Are you going to be bad anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Why?
Close.
You can't be bad, buddy. Go play. Spider-Man's coming. All right, close the door. Let Daddy finish his show. Love you. Listen to your mother. Okay, close the door. Love you. Close the door. If you don't know, that's my son, Ben. My man. Hey, at least he's honest. Like Mark says, at least he's honest. That's true. That's true. All right. Getting back to that, I think LSU is going to do some big things in the portal. Okay. Some of the things that they need, like this isn't debatable. Okay. We saw it the last 2 weeks. Over the last 2 weeks, LSU played Texas A&M. Obviously, you know that we played Georgia. Defensive line at this point, the LSU defensive line has some really good talent, right? The talent there, they can build off of. If you can get a Kahan Bouty back, can you get a Jaquelin Roy back? Can you add depth there? Some guys at A&M hit the portal. Do you go after some of those guys to give you depth? You have some defensive linemen that are coming into this class as freshmen. You have guys like Quincy Wiggins. Add to the depth there. Here's the thing. The big key in this defensive line is not only does LSU have to add depth, they have to add quality depth. So in transitioning into all of this and some things that I know that LSU is going after, that they're focusing on, and really no specific order, I would say defensive line depth. Better, more offensive line depth. If you can go and get a center, you always are going to want to go out in the portal and get a really quality center. There are some guys out there. The young man from Cincinnati, with the ties with Mike Denbrock. You go out there and get him. LSU is going to be very calculated in what they do, and Brian Kelly wants to build this team through high school recruiting, and I agree with him. But LSU is not far away. They're another transfer portal class away with the freshmen that you've added, with the guys that you'll have returning, guys like Kahan Bouty that you have returning, where LSU can be dangerous. LSU can be dangerous. We talk about culture so much, right? We talk about, Brian Kelly culture fit this, Brian Kelly culture fit that. You know what we don't necessarily do in the moment? It's like the old saying goes, I wish I knew I was living in the good old days before the good old days were gone. Are you living in them? Are you living in them? Is Brian Kelly doing something that nobody else since Saban has done? You got to get your quarterback. I think you got him. I think you have quarterbacks on this roster that could lead you to national titles. Guys, I will promise you this. If A.J. McCarron could lead Alabama, God bless it. I know Mac Jones is good, a decent one. If Mac Jones can lead you to a national championship, I think that you have quarterbacks already on this roster that can lead you to one as well. You saw the difference and the space that you are away from Georgia. You saw that space. Next year, you don't have to face Tennessee in the regular season. And quite honestly, in both times in the second half, you were down 20 with a chance to score, and then LSU's defense gets a 3-and-out, back-to-back 3-and-outs for you to have the chance to get back in the game and only be down 6 points. You're not as far away as you think. LSU's not as far away as you think. What if LSU got some more stops against Georgia defensively? Because truthfully, when you have a guy like Jayden Daniels that put up 200, when you have a guy like Gary Nusmeier who put up 300 yards and 2 scores in the second half, Blake, Georgia's defense is really, really good. Well, LSU exposed them in the back 7. They got roasted like a Sandlot marshmallow. Keely Ringo and others got roasted. Go back and watch the first half and watch the throws that Jayden made as well. Got to score points. Can't have a blocked field goal. When you're about to kick a field goal and tie the game at 10, or take over, go up by 3. When you're rolling down the field and you have a block kick that they return for a touchdown, that's a 10-point swing, guys. You lost by 20. You had a 3-and-out. And then Garrett Nussmeier would go down the field. He would throw an interception. So you're not as far away as you think. Adding some of these transfer portal guys that are entering, over 700 of them so far, you will get some of them to add that depth. Here's another key piece that I don't know if everybody, because we'll talk about this so much this offseason. And we talk a lot of football here. But if Jayden Daniels or Garrett Nussmeier, Walker Howard has another full offseason with Brian Kelly and Joe Sloan, then what? I promise you those guys are only going to get better. You're going to add weapons like Shelton Sampson Jr., the 5-star kid, the 5-star wide receiver from Catholic. Oh, and by the way, what about the other 5-star receiver in Jaylen Brown? Shit's starting to get a little bit serious, isn't it? Oh, forgive me, but I forgot that Walker Howard's still on this damn team too. things are getting serious and you have to be here. I feel like we're living through a time with Brian Kelly and today, like a moment like today and the big announcement like you have today in Kahan Bouty returning. I feel like you're living in the transition period to greater and bigger things. It's how I feel. It's how I feel. And it's not, and as The Rock would say, it doesn't matter how you feel. He's right. It doesn't matter how I feel. How are they producing it? You're the SEC West champs. You could go to Purdue and get 10 wins. You mean to tell me Kahan Bouty returning doesn't get that locker room fired up? Well, fuck it. If Kayshawn's going to return, shit, I probably should too. You know what else upset? NIL. So remember all of the naysayers of NIL. How do you like it now? Now, you can say, well, Blake, Kahan had an average season, below to average season. I agree with you. Did you see what he did against Georgia? Because you're only getting better from that. 6 catches, 106 yards, and a tutty. You're only getting better from that. Something that was interesting that Kahan Bouty said in his thing. Let me find it. Here it is. Kahan Bouty saying to Brian Kelly, hey, where the frick is it? I pulled it up and now my computer's freezing. Why must my computer freeze when the first time I need you? Here it is. Thank you. Finally. When Kahan Bouty says, LSU has been nothing but amazing to me, here's the biggest thing and why this is, I feel you're in the transition. When Kahan Bouty says, my growth under the new staff has helped me reach new levels. There's levels to this, man. There's levels to this. All right, let's get to a couple of your comments. But I think to wrap it all up, you need interior defensive linemen. Here's another one you need. If you got DBs out there, I think that you need defensive backs because you got a lot of seniors that's in that group. Let me say it like this. If there's a defensive back from Louisiana that hits the portal, put your antennas up. Put your antennas up. Let me say that again just to make sure you heard it. If there's a DB from the state of Louisiana that's on another team actively and enters the portal, put your antennas up. All right. Need depth at defensive tackle. You need depth at DB. You need some more corners. Can you land Desmond Ricks, the 5-star, the best corner in the country? I think you can. Needs to probably a little bit more interior depth on the offensive line. And running backs are coming. Pause. Boys, it's about to get serious up in this thing. Jason Morgan, 499 via Super Chat says, Ben got to hit the portal if he gets in trouble again. Yeah, he can't hit the portal. I won't let him. Jeremy Hyde says, is Nuss that good or did Georgia not prepare for him? I think it's a mixture of both. He said, for someone who is slinging the ball, great show, Blake. Keep it up. Thank you, Jeremy, for the 499. I think it's a little bit of both. I think two things can be true as once. Look, if you want to, and we'll talk about this with Carter the Power more. Look, the only thing, like the yards are great. The bombs that he threw are great. The touchdowns he threw were great. There was not a better play in the SEC title game than the play that Garrett Nusmeier made when he broke the tackle, spun around, threw a dime to Jeray Jenkins in the end zone. There's not a better play in the game than that one. Not one. That is one hell of a play. There's also probably not a more boneheaded play than throwing the ball into double coverage to Kahan Bouty when you know he's going to be doubled and it getting picked. You can't do that. Some will say, well, Blake, what about the blocked field goal? I'm with you there, but that's more of execution in reference to God just blew you up. That not making a mental mistake. So you got two quarterbacks here holistically. One, it's funny because if you could freaking merge Garrett Nusmeier and Jane Daniels, you would have the best quarterback maybe of all time. a guy that just slings it down the field and a guy that has been conservative throughout the year. If you could merge those two, it would be flawless. One guy you got to reel back. The other guy you got to say, rifle that sucker. It's true. They're legitimately the polar opposites, right? Like James got to start forcing some things down the field, even though I think that at times he has, and he led you to an SEC West title, and Nuss fires it down the field too much. Big thing, though, you can't turn the football over or you'll lose. Regardless. I just got a text from I'm not going to say that. Trey Dye says you got to think that Boutte thinks or was told that Nuss will be the QB. No, Trey, I don't think that. Actually, I know he hasn't been told that. He hadn't been told that. Thank you for the $4.99 via Super Chat. He hadn't been told that. Jason Morgan says if you can get Kayshawn to come back, you can definitely convince Ojulari to come back, and even Jaquelin Roy. I would be, in all honesty, but I do think, in all honesty, not that it's not happening, but I would be a little shocked if BJ returned. I would be a little shocked, but this sets a precedent, man. This is how you win national titles. You win national titles when you start getting guys to return. And really and truthfully, you need a home run. You need a back that can do some serious stuff too. Like we talk about O-line, wide receivers, you need a running back that could really take the top off, like take it to the hizzy. I think you get that in guys like Trey Holly and Caleb Jackson, but are we going to rely on a freshman to be that dude? Right? Like, I mean, are you going to rely on a freshman? But here's another thing. Everybody can return in that running back room. Akon and LGs. Said Glenn Dorsey did the same thing. Yeah, he did. And Marshall said Stetson Bennett's a Heisman finalist. We're in the Matrix. And I think he deserves to be one. I mean, I get maybe you should put in Hendon Hooker, but I would, Hendon Hooker did get snubbed. But they put C.J. Stroud in it over him. And I thought C.J. had a very blah year at times when it mattered most. Jay Everett says J.D. and Nuss merged is Joe Burrow. Well, I get what you're saying, and to the point of if they mixed themselves together, they'd be the greatest quarterback alive. Ain't nobody Joe Burrow. Ain't nobody Joe. Ain't nobody. Yo, I think people should start calling him Daddy. We're going to start calling this man Daddy. Rob says his name is Walker Howard. We'll see. Everybody said, so basically you'll get a Joe Burrow. Maybe. I mean, it's true. All right, one more, then we're getting Carter of Power Bryant. Jason Morgan sends $4.99 via Super Chat, says, there's been a complete culture change, and it started soon as BK got here, letting certain guys leave. It's true. He knew it would be a battle, but now you can build. Agreed. Everybody's so worried about culture change. Now look what happened. Literally a year ago, when Brian Kelly was hired on the 30th of November, everybody, culture change. Oh. My ovaries hurt. Oh. Anyway, all right. Let's do this. Let's talk about our good friend Carol Foss over at State Farm. Let's talk about Kahan Bouty returning. Does Carter of the Power Brian have some news about guys that are coming to LSU in the transfer portal? Because he said that he got breaking news when he gets in here. That's what he said. I don't know if it's true or not. So how about Carol Foss over at State Farm? 45 seconds. We return with the power next. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Foss and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with a great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. Carter, the power, Bryant, what's happening, dude? Hey, hold on. Kahan Bouty, booty, rocking everywhere. What's happening, brother?
Life couldn't be better, Blake. I mean, that was pretty phenomenal. I just couldn't believe it, honestly. You know what was interesting? I was lucky to get to go to the game in Atlanta. And when I saw Kahan, score the touchdown, Blake, I honestly was like, wait, is that going to be the last time we ever see Kahan score a tutty in an LSU uniform? I was like, this could be his last game, because I think most everyone thought, hey, he's going to opt out for the bowl game and, go to the NFL. It's not what happened. And honestly, this is so big for what you said a minute ago. It's so key to get experienced guys. I see a few people mention, Glenn Dorsey, but most of LSU's national championship teams are experienced. And one of the biggest gaps between LSU and Georgia this past weekend was the youth for LSU. And Georgia is so experienced. So that was just so massive. I not only Kahan as a player, but as a leader and being older is key. So this is really shocking, and it's really, really good to be an LSU Tiger right now.
Brandon says, is Mason Smith the D lineman that got hurt in the first game eligible to come back? $4.99 via Super Chat. Yes, buddy, he is. It's a massive comeback. Look, Carter, I mean, this is how you win natties.
It is. It is.
And let me tell you this. Now, let's get into this game because it affects Kahan returning.
Yeah.
Look, I get LSU was down 35-10 at halftime. I don't think that was fully on Jaden. Like the helmet pick, I mean.
Yeah.
You're going to disagree with me on whose fault that is, but we're not going to get to that yet. Okay. Jaden Daniels in the first half was rifling that bitch. And then Garrett came in there and rifled it. Got to limit the turnovers. What people don't realize, LSU had 4 turnovers in that game and only lost by 20. Gap's not as big as everybody thinks it is when LSU's serious, brother.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Jaden played well. He did miss some throws in the first half.
He did.
Especially early, but it's typical Jaden, right? It's he starts off slow and then he gets better, and he was dealing. And honestly, what everyone wants to talk about here tonight, Blake, is obviously Kahan, but outside of that, it's Garrett Nusmeier. He was incredible. I think the final fumble was bad, but you kind of have to excuse. I mean, you're down by 20. You're kind of in a position where I need to make something happen for us to get back into this game. That was
the issue, though, Carter. Throw it away.
Yes, throw it away.
Throw it away. Don't take a fumble. Throw it away.
Don't take a fumble, or he could have hit a shorter route to make it a manageable fourth. But the interception to Kahan, was bad. That was really, really bad, especially with the safety pre-snap being on that hash. But outside of that, I mean, he truly was unfreaking believable, some of the throws he made. The cover 2 whole shot beater to Malik for a tutty was such a high-level throw.
It's throw.
It really is. Like, those are what, franchise NFL quarterbacks make. It's just, can you do that over the course of a season? It's hard. Like, we see Mahomes do it every week, but you don't see a quarterback, honestly, at the collegiate level making that throw hardly ever. I mean, Caleb Williams,
multiple of them, Carter. I mean,
yeah, I mean, like, I think Caleb Williams makes that throw regularly, but not many college quarterbacks hit that throw.
So we have a verboten list. We don't talk about Caleb Williams on the show no more.
I know Caleb. Okay, we don't have to talk about Caleb and the painted nails.
That's the reason. If we talk about him, it's all negative.
But look, Nuss was incredible. Like, that was some really high-level quarterbacking. The deep ball to Malik that he threw out, into space to allow the guy to run into it was crazy because Malik hadn't even turned back to look for the football, but he saw the DB's backs turn to him, and he was like, I'm just going to throw it down there. It's the meme, right? I'm just
Fuck it. Somebody's down there.
Yeah, Malik is somewhere down there. It was such a great throw. And it was fun to actually see what a vertical passing game looks like. And if anyone is going to take anything away from this segment, I think some people do. Sometimes they just think I'm an idiot. That's fine. But I jump on your show once a week. I want to share this one simple truth about the LSU offense this past weekend. That was one of Georgia's worst defensive performances ever under Kirby Smart. Now, was it partially because of the frenetic nature of the game? Yes, because, if you have a fumble recovery for a touchdown or the block kick, fumble recovery, whatever you want to call it, and if you have a sudden change play, the Jack Besh play, your defense is going to play more snaps and they're going to get tired, which I think kind of happened to Georgia, and they had such a big lead. So that obviously helped. But this is what the explosive plays do for your offense that I think it's very, very important, Blake, is that LSU's offensive line was not great. LSU's running game was not great.
No,
but
Emory Jones got messed over a couple of times.
Right. All those things were true, and we still had one of the best offensive games we've had all season because
if it's not Georgia, Carter, then guess who? They would have blown everybody else's doors off.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Which is why the explosive play thing is so big, which is why, and I know you've referenced this before, and you and I are both fans of Jaden Daniels, but it holds him back.
Gotta rifle it.
It holds the offense back. It is just that. It's just simple truth. And I know people close to Jaden. I've gotten lucky to meet a few as well. It holds the offense back that you don't take as many vertical shots as you can. Now, sometimes that's not on Jaden. Sometimes it's on the play call, the protection, and a lot of other factors. But it changes everything when you hit deep shots because it makes it easier on everybody else. And if you're hitting vertical shots, yes, you would like a running game to go along with it, but you don't need it. Yes, you would like pass protection to be better, but it doesn't need to be the
absolute. It helps your running game because the safeties have to get out of the box, etc. You're right.
Exactly. So I just think that is so key, and Garrett Nusmeier bringing that to the LSU offense is absolutely critical. But like you said, Blake, it's a small sample size of 1 second half performance. I could say it's incredible, but at the same time also say we need to see more, and hopefully we do get to see more versus Purdue.
Yeah, I think you will. Well, if I'm Brian Kelly, I'd tell Garrett Nusmeier this. Get me through the bowl game. I'd sit Jaden Daniels. There's no reason whatsoever to play Jaden Daniels if he's going to return. Either way, and it's in my opinion, Jaden Daniels has no business playing against Purdue. If I'm Brian Kelly, I'd tell Garrett, listen, play the bowl game. Let's go out here and rifle this hoe as many times as we can, and we'll figure it out. And in that way, Carter, at least right? Like at least what you have in him. And if you're Brian Kelly, you tell him, if you want to transfer, I'll do everything humanly possible to make you land somewhere that you want to go.
Yeah.
Because very quickly, and I know, I'm just throwing this out there. If Brian Kelly called Sonny Dykes right now and said, listen, Garrett Nusmeier, it's got a little bit of work in him, but you need a quarterback, and here's one, there's not a better one. Sonny Dykes would take Garrett Nusmeier. You know that, and I know that. So we'll see. But, I mean, I'd give him the shot. I would give him the shot in the bowl game. Let him see what he can do. But as good as his half was against Georgia, he had a horrible half against Southern.
It is. And those things balance themselves out, right? You had about as bad as
right.
And he made a few good throws in Southern, but the 2 turnovers in that game were as bad as they get, right? So and one big thing, and this is a different, like, if you play the game, the very important truth about being the guy is you're the guy. How do you take that week of practice? How do you take the week of the defense knowing that you're going to be the guy? And everything that they do is surrounded in stopping you. That changes everything, right? If you are the starter or if the other team knows that you are going to play a lot during the course of that game, it is a completely different animal, right? And I think the nature of the game helped out Garrett Nusmeier because it allowed him to play freely, right? When you're down by that many points, Nuss was allowed to just be Nuss. And it really was impressive. And I'm just happy Garrett Nussmeier had a good day because this guy has heard everything, right? When Miles Brennan decided to come back and Jaden came in, Nuss is going to transfer. He stuck it out and almost won the job. It should have gone to Jaden. Brian made the right decision. Then he had the game versus Southern, and everyone was talking about, hey, you can't play, do the 2 picks. He just stuck it out and became a good backup. And now he's had to hear, well, Walker is going to be the guy, and Walker is going to be a really good quarterback. But, he kept hearing that, and for him to have that performance was really good for just him, a guy that really does love LSU, and I'm happy Nuts got to have that moment.
A guy with nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
A guy with nothing to lose, and you saw what – my biggest complaint, and see, I took a beating for saying, oh, Blake doesn't like Garrett. Bullshit. Carter, me and you have had – let's end this here about people saying that I don't like Garrett, okay, in reference to his play. Carter, he can play. He can play. The problem I have is when you're down – see, and I mentioned this earlier as an example. You're down 20, you throw the pick, you get a 3 and out, okay? You got to capitalize on some of these 3 and outs that Georgia was giving you, because if you convert in the second half on the 2 3 and outs and get a short field and go down and score, Carter, you're down 6. You're down 6. You convert the 4th and 1 and not be a boneheaded idiot and run it right at Jalen Carter. Man. Okay, you convert that, Carter. Now you're cooking with some grease. So I still believe that it's closer. But look, here's another thing with Jaden that I think we're going to have to talk about this offseason. You have Sheldon Sampson Jr., 5-star coming in. You have Jalen Brown, 5-star wide receiver coming in. Kahan Bouty returns. You'll have other receivers returning. They got a lot of offseason to work through this, a lot of offseason. Jaden's got to figure out how to get them the ball down the field.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that's the only thing, because Carter, that offense on paper
looks really good.
It's more than really good. They have a chance to be the upper echelon of the elite with the talent that they would have returning. Agreed?
Yeah, LSU will be a top 5 team next year, right? There'll be no. Do you believe that? They'll be no lower than top 10 with everything that they have coming back with, obviously the other space and World and all those guys. Man, it's nuts, Blake. It is nuts.
Let's transition defensively. Carter, God bless it, man. I mean, what's going on here? I mean, they got to get better interior depth defensively.
Yeah.
Corners, look, my key to victory was let Stetson Bennett beat you. And you know what he did to my big ass? He dropped the mic and said, I'm coming for you, Big Daddy. And he beat our ass. Carter, you got to get more depth defensively because the last 2 weeks have been horrendous.
Yeah. One of our, big mutual supporters, Jason. I got to meet Jason and his wonderful kid before the game. The guy dropping all the 4.99s. Look at that. He dropped another one just then, right on cue. Jason's become one of my really good friends, and he's just an awesome dude. And we're talking about that going in, right? How would the defense respond to the Texas A&M game? And man, they were not good. I mean, I know it was pretty evident, but they looked tired. They looked honestly, I think one of the biggest things that the LSU defense was shocked by with Georgia is the misdirection aspect of their offense. There is a big misconception, Blake, about this Georgia offense that they have better players in you and they're just going to run over you. That's partially true. They do have 5-stars everywhere on both sides of the football and on the offensive side, but they throw a lot of different looks at you.
Agreed.
Hieroglyphics, some of the things that our LSU linebacker core was trying to decipher. And Georgia, just to get a little filmy here, they pulled their linemen on screens and runs and
Counters, like traps. I mean, all of it.
And Micah Baskerville just had a rough day with that. It's hard. It is so hard to figure out that offense, because when they get in 12 personnel, you want to bring more thick players into the box and bring more people in, and then they spread you out and their tight ends run like gazelles. Georgia's offense, Blake leading in, I was more afraid about them than I was the Georgia defense, because Georgia's offense has not had a bad game all year. They have been consistently good. Todd Monken will probably win the Broyles Award as the best assistant. He's been that good. And I do think a lot of it was Georgia's elite offensive execution, and a lot of it was also LSU's defense just being worn TF out. You saw it versus Texas A&M. You saw it now, and it was such a huge difference that they were so much deeper than us. Are their first team guys better than our first team guys as a whole? Probably, but it's not wide. They just have a second team of guys that is probably on our level of first team guys, and those guys can play as well as some of their Georgia first teamers. So it was so hard to keep up with what they were doing.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And Carter, they rotated 9 defensive linemen throughout that game.
Crazy. It's
and
crazy.
They rotated 8 when LSU came back and was down 10-7. That's the difference. Like, they're able to do stuff like that. Like they go to the TV copy and Jalen Carter's on the sidelines. So, I mean, that's the difference of what makes Georgia so they're elite at it. Carter, a couple questions, and I want to get to some of these fan questions, but we do have some breaking news here. Are you ready? Let's go. One-time LSU commit wide receiver JoJo Earle has entered the portal.
What a player. First thing, thank goodness he decided to go to Alabama, because the Malik thing probably wouldn't have happened.
And Malik was your best wide receiver, but just throwing it out there. LSU's not going to get him, but you would love it to see it.
JoJo was one of my favorite high school receivers.
You would love it to see it.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're doing.
You would love it to see it. Hey, what was the bald guy in Fast and Furious, Vin Diesel? What was his first name in Fast and Furious? It's Dominic. All right, I'm moving on. All right, I want to add.
No, you were just talking. You were just talking about the Tigers. I mean, that's all you were doing.
Right.
Let
me ask you this, because Saints come on at 7:15, so we got a little time here. Let me ask you this: what makes Stetson Bennett so damn good?
I have a few theories on this.
College-wise, I'm not talking about prospect. I mean, he's really good in college, but continue.
I have a few. So, I've read some studies on this. For those that are familiar with the game of football, quarterback is the most mentally taxing position we have in all of sports, right? Mm-hmm. Well, your brain doesn't stop developing until 25 years of age. And sometimes we forget that college quarterbacks are also, students, right? You can't really focus on football. When you get older, your brain is more mature and you have more time to focus on football. And we saw that with Joe. We saw that with a lot of other experienced quarterbacks, Hendon Hooker. And look, Stetson Bennett is really smart. He, once again, though, is older. That's obviously a big thing. But honestly, he's a really good athlete. He's got amazing speed. We saw a few sidearm throws from him. He's just really, really, really solid. He doesn't really have any weaknesses. Now, he's not unbelievable, right? His coaching is just absolutely crazy. But, there was a reason I said throw a few bones on him for Heisman before the year, because this roster is so freaking good. And I cannot state this enough. When you have the tight ends that they do, it honestly just confuses your offense, right? Let's say you have a great wide receiver.
It's the Patriots with non-rest in peace, I guess, Aaron Hernandez and Gronk.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So you have a wide receiver, right? Let's say you have a great wide receiver. Well, you don't have to worry about a receiver coming in to block, right? If you have tight ends that are willing to block as well as Georgia's tight ends do, they really are solid blockers. It just opens up so much. I think Monken is a very underrated play caller, and Stetson just runs the offense. So, he's very accurate. He's very decisive, and he's got just a ridiculous supporting cast. So shout out to Staquavius with the fresh fade Bennett, baby.
He's
Love it.
undefeated with the fresh fade.
Unbelievable.
I'm taking them to win the Natty. I know it's difficult to do it, but I'm not gonna bet against them. All right, a couple more for you, Carter. Are there some guys that entered the portal today, or that you think may enter the portal that 100% unequivocally you think LSU should go after?
Yeah, obviously, Justin Flo's a guy that everyone's mentioned, the linebacker out of Oregon, and LSU would probably like to have, some talented linebacker help. I do think, and look, Blake, I won't say names here. I do think quarterback is going to be very interesting, right? Like, I think LSU would want Jaden Daniels to return, right? And LSU should take back Jaden Daniels because he's a very good quarterback. But if he does decide to go, which I don't think he is at this point, do you trust Garrett Nusmeier? That's why you said so eloquently a minute ago, you want to see what he can do as a guy versus Purdue. So yeah, I think quarterback obviously is going to be the big question that Brian Kelly's going to have to answer over the next 24, 48, 72. And then, Blake, you look at the offensive line, right? I know everyone is interested about the guard that, is in the portal out of Alabama. There's obviously
Cohen from Alabama.
Yeah. So there's a lot of pieces out there that you think would help your team immediately. I wouldn't go after JoJo Earl at this point, though. I know
I wouldn't either.
I'll just take an L on that. My eval. I thought he was going to be really good at Alabama. He's just a guy. So I think obviously you try and find another offensive lineman. I think that would be very key. But
if LSU got a good center, we'd be cooking with grease.
And then to me, Blake, the position that they will heavily focus on in the portal will be defensive back.
Agreed.
And it's LSU, while we're very happy about Kahan coming back, they're going to need some DBs to fall their way. Now, obviously, we'll see what Toviano and Ricks, wink, wink, nod, nod. I feel pretty good about that. We'll see what they do as true freshman recruits from the class of 2023. But Blake, I mean, Mekhi Gardner and Jarek Bernard Converse were really good football players for us this year, Blake. Imagine where this team would be if they weren't on this roster. We don't beat Alabama if we don't have Converse on our team. Having those adults in the room who played hard, played through some injuries this year at extremely difficult positions was crazy. Greg Brooks obviously as well. So you're going to need some DBs from the portal, and let's hope it happens, Blake. My fingers are crossed. It's hard to it's hard to find really quality DBs, and LSU obviously killed it last year in the portal at that position.
I don't know if I want to ask you this, but I will.
Or let's go, Blake.
Okay.
This is a great night for Are You Serious Sports.
It's a massive night. Do you expect anybody to departure?
I do, but at this point, this is something that people should understand about college athletes, right? They really are, individuals, and you have to do what's best for you. But when a star, like Kahan is a star, right? He's got a bunch of star qualities. When a star decides to come back, people follow. I do think I don't just think that this decision Kahan made happened just between the Georgia game and now.
It
You don't just make the decision just because I don't want people to think, well, he
got
had a
it
great
done.
game.
He got it done.
Yes. I think Kahan would had this, there's a lot of reasons for him to stay as well. But what I will say is when it becomes official, it does make some people think, well, I would like to do what Kahan did and I would like to stay. I would like to be a part of a national championship level roster. But I do think some players will leave, some of which are backups who probably should leave for the betterment of their careers. And I do think some players who played a lot this year will also decide to pack their bags and go elsewhere. And Blake, this is the most interesting thing about the portal that, I know a lot of people view players that enter the portal as guys that just didn't play a lot at their last schools or guys that were high-level recruits and, they'll go to a non-D1 school or non-Power 5 school. The interesting thing about the portal this year is a lot of players who are playing a lot right now are entering the portal. Like guys that
starting quarterbacks. Carter, did you see the stat today that 19 starting quarterbacks went to the transfer portal? 19. And I'm not talking. And listen, Drake May hasn't entered the conversation yet.
Okay, so
Leary.
What you're about to say is key though. Keep going. What you're about to say, I already know what you're about to say.
Well, I don't know if I want to go there yet. Okay, but hypothetically, Carter, if Drake May gets in the portal, does LSU not attack him?
Why wouldn't you? I'll say this. Okay,
you get what I'm saying? Like, I get that you got Walker Howard. I like put that down, Zach.
No. Come on, we're not. I don't want that thought.
Yeah, I don't want to listen to that bullshit.
I don't want that thought in my mind.
In all honesty, he's not wrong. They're in there. I did hear sources. Georgia's entering that game too.
Yeah.
But if he were to enter. But my thing is, there are some really good quarterbacks you got to take a look at. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Okay, so you said exactly what I thought you were going to say, right? The one thing that you have to keep in mind, right, is it's not the fact that quarterbacks are in the portal. It's that good quarterbacks are in the portal, right? Guys that were really good players on their teams last year, okay? Now, quarterback, it's hard to play quarterback at any Division I school, right? I would venture off. It is easier to prove yourself in the NFL than it is in college because in the NFL, you have preseason games, right? At least you have a chance to show yourself. In college, you don't, right? So it is hard to get a starter's job. What I think will happen is quarterbacks in particular that are really good players, the opposite will happen. They are very good and other teams want those very good quarterbacks, right? I'm telling you, I don't know anything about the inner workings of Oklahoma State football. Spencer Sanders can freaking play. He can freaking play. He enters a portal. And
look what happens with Ty Simpson. Like,
right.
I mean, I don't think you would replace him with Walker Howard. Neither one of them have played anything. We'll see. All right, Carter, I lied. Last one.
No, keep going, man. We're good.
Okay, well, we got one more, and then we're going to get out of here for the Saints game. I'm going to try to get in a little bit of a debate with you, but try to have a little bit of the debate. I hate Alabama. H-A-T-E, hate. I think they stink. I think they mama stink. I think, everybody stinks. I think they ain't got no teeth. I mean, there's a lot of bad things to hate about Alabama outside of Pooh Bear, who's our producer. All right. I can't be convinced otherwise that Tennessee or Alabama don't deserve to be in the national title contention. And I mean this, Tennessee or Alabama over TCU. The simple fact that TCU lost and didn't move at all is what I like to call in the business bullshit. Carter, they lost. And they lost in what I believe is a shitty-ass conference at times. Oh, we played Kansas, Mr. Blake. Well, Tennessee blew out regardless if it's with Hendon Hooker or not, the SEC West champion. An 8-4 team right now in South Carolina could beat anybody. I truly believe that. Outside of Georgia, I believe they could beat anybody. Am I wrong? I don't think TCU I don't think they belong. I don't.
Okay, there's a difference between belong and deserve, though, right?
Both. With an F.
Okay.
Both.
Okay, so you did both. Look, TCU would be probably underdogs to Tennessee even with their backup.
Bet online said they'd be underdogs to both Tennessee and Alabama today. 6.5. Both.
So shout out to Bet Online. I think TCU obviously is a very flawed team that won a lot of close games. They obviously had a lot of backup quarterbacks that they played, but I do think losing in your conference championship game by a close amount with an undefeated record the rest of the way, I'm fine with them being in. Go on ahead, do whatever. I would have put Alabama or Tennessee in over Ohio State. I'm happy that
Both
Alabama. I'm happy Alabama didn't get that last spot.
At what point does the eye test come into play?
It does some. Like if you have like
it's got to come into a lot of it more than they played 5 top 25 opponents. Carter, playing Oklahoma State is not playing LSU.
Okay. But what I will say is eye test can get very subjective, right?
Kansas or Mississippi State?
Oh, Mississippi State's a better team, right?
My point.
But
those 2 losses don't having one more loss doesn't really affect me like it does everybody else in the country for whatever reason. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but then it becomes what the national media actually says. It becomes the SEC Invitational, right? Do I feel Alabama is a better team than Ohio State? I do.
It would be the Big Ten and SEC Invitational, which it probably should be.
Which is what you're getting with the conference consolidation. So you're getting your wish, right? I'm fine. I'm fine with TCU being there at number 3,
right.
And I think Alabama should have been number 4 over Ohio State, but I'm also kind of sort of fine with it because I hate Alabama like you, and it makes us feel better about our win versus Alabama, right? It was us that knocked Nick Saban out of the college football playoff.
Yeah, that short bastard.
And guess what?
Cream pie eating fool.
That game mattered. Okay. It not only mattered to you as an LSU fan, it also mattered to the rest of the world of college football that hates Alabama. And that's what makes Jaden Daniels to Mason Taylor, and that's what makes Jared Bernard Converse and Harold Perkins and Mekhi Wingo and everybody else that played out of their mind. That is what makes it really, really, really fun. But
as we're leaving, Tommy Brockermeyer just hit the portal.
Oh man, what a disaster that was! Wow. Look, my inbox was full of my goodness.
Would you take Tommy Brockermeyer right now?
I mean, I'll take a flyer on him for sure. But I remember when the Brockermeyer brothers, committed to Alabama, LSU's name was kind of associated with them. I remember that they were going to visit the LSU Texas game in Tiger Stadium, but Rona hit. But, those guys just didn't pan out. A lot of those guys from those Alabama recruiting classes didn't pan out, and you see them hitting the portal. It's a very interesting world that we're in. And it's something else, Blake, before I get out of here. You and I said this privately, and I'm going to try and do better about some of our private conversations. I'll share some of them here.
Yeah, I mean, you tell all of my dirty secrets.
I tell them all. Tell them all. Huh? But I'll say one thing that you and I both agreed on, is that it is very important when LSU players have players enter the portal to not overreact, right? I see people say,
God, I know.
What player X We need him. We need player X to come to stay at LSU. We need player X. We need player Y. We need player Z or whatever. It's not true. It's honestly not true. No one player makes the team. It's very important to not overreact. And I sent a tweet out about it, and people freaked out about it. I was like, we're getting ready to play Georgia this weekend, and people are talking about this guy, that guy, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Don't overreact. No one player makes the team, and we got one of our best players to make a selfless decision back, be a part of what looks to be a very nice national championship run in 2023. So you can go to bed tonight thinking that one of the biggest dominoes to happen is going to happen. Let's go. Let's go.
As they said on the Little Angels, or Angels in the Outfield, it could happen. I'm like the little black kid that comes out and starts doing this. You never seen Angels in the Outfield?
You were doing this, right? Our things.
Well, I kind of broke my wrist a little bit, so I don't want people seeing me wear a cast. So I don't want to.
Oh, you broke your wrist?
Yeah, should see the other guy. he's messed up. Anywho,
oh, I like that.
Yeah, I messed him up, dude. I mean, he talked. You know, it's funny because he was sitting there, he was talking shit, he was running his mouth, and I told him, Carter, if he wanted some gangsters in front of his house, I would set it off. And
set it off.
So, pop, you know. So he called got that 3-piece and a soda and a biscuit. Dry as hell pies.
I want to say it was good. I met some of your people in Atlanta. That was fun.
Okay, and, tell me about it. We got 4 minutes.
No, it was great. So I mentioned Jason. Then I also someone else came up to me, said that they watch me, but they always look forward to the Monday night segment I do with you. I guess
it's the final countdown. I think this is what we're going to call our Monday. It's the final countdown.
That's fine. This is it's my favorite spot I do, man. But I will say, Atlanta was so much fun. I was very happy that I do feel that they need me to move the SEC championship game from Atlanta. That is such a huge advantage for Georgia. But I was happy to see LSU fans actually make the trip for this first year, knowing that we were walking into a buzzsaw, right? A team that was ready to win their first SEC title in quite some time. So, man, it was great, man. Getting to meet a lot of you. It was wonderful. Who dat?
They're about to get clapped. They're about to get clapped.
Saints by 7 tonight. Mark it down. Mark it down. Saints by 7. Go opposite Blake, baby.
No.
Go opposite.
Hey, I'm 4-0 this weekend. I'm 4-0.
Look,
brother, I love when Joe Burrow faces Patrick Mahomes. It's made me so much money.
Joey B.
It's made me so much money. Then you got CEOs like from BetOnline saying, stop taking more of our money. That's all I'm saying. All right.
See you, bud.
Later, dude.
Cheers.
That's Carter, the Power Bryant. Let's go ahead and get on out of here. We'll look, big night. Shout out to Kahan Bouty for being a dog. Got that dog in him. And as Kevin says, I joined the AYS forum this evening. Hope my $7 is well spent. Well, now you'll make like 102. So thank you all. About 102 of you have subscribed over the last 2 days. It's been fantastic. Kevin, we put in a lot of work and a lot of time over the last couple of days, dropping some recruiting news and nuggets in there along with what's going on LSU football team. So go and subscribe, ayssnetwork.com. All right, until then, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Peace out, Girl Scouts.